to CIO Horizon 2025. We are live from Missouri, and today we have Mr. Arun Subramanian from Sharpsell.
Hi.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So there's a lot of tools available for sales teams right now, but adoption remains quite low. So why do you believe it's happening?
Sure. So I think one of the biggest issues that sales teams want is they want help in three places. One is they want help in managing their leads, they want help in helping them sell better, and they want help in understanding where they stand with respect to incentives, numbers, etc. So I think the incentive part is broadly solved, and that's a pull thing. But when we talk about where organizations focus on, there's a lot of focus on driving systems that help that helps the sales teams understand where they stand in the market, tracking their activities, etc. But when we talk about sales teams, a frontline manager is also part of the sales team, a frontline seller is also part of the sales team, and the tracking tools don't really help the frontline seller, because their view is, boss, you are asking me to do a lot of work which is not at all relevant to sales and the real actual sale of somebody buying from me. So I do all the conversations, I kind of convince the customer, I do my groundwork, and then after all this, you want me to fill some data. And a lot of times, people don't end up using them because they believe they are compliance tools and they are, system of records. Where the question the layman sales guy will ask is, "Ki aur mujhse data mang ke, you're going to kind of ask me questions later on, so why should I fill this?" And then people start moving to Excel systems, offline systems, or no system at all. So the places where we've seen sales teams really adapt to tools is when it's actually become a tool that helps them sell better rather than a tool of management where the management is trying to be on top of what the sales guy is doing, or if the salesperson is doing what they're supposed to do. So I think as long as we're flipping the question saying was, how can I help this seller sell better in a way that they are selling, then it will answer. And the way that they are selling is a very important part, because different sellers sell differently. And the problem is, let's say you and I may sell very differently, but both of us may get success. So there's no one right way to sell. So question is the tool adapting itself to the way I'm selling, and the same tool adapting yourself to the way you're selling, where I don't know, which one works for what. So am I building something that's flexible enough that it will be adaptable to everybody is what I think we have seen work in terms of what field sales are looking at.
So integration of next generation technologies has been happening in every segment. Where do you see AI getting leveraged in sales?
Sure. So AI is broadly there are two components. So one is, how am I using AI to get the right product information, get the right product pitch, and in the context of what the customer is doing. And the second is in terms of synthesizing the data that the company has and looking at getting them the next best insight. So let's say if we're working with a bank, the bank has a lot of your transaction data. So the bank knows where you spend your money. For the most part, assume you also use the bank's credit card, then they know where you're getting your money from, when you're getting money, where you're spending your money, and what kind of products or services you're spending your money. So this is, if you really look at it, it's a treasure trove. And banks, or I'm just taking bank as an example, banks have always tried to give information to relationship managers and all their sellers to tell them, because this is what is happening, so why don't you go talk to the customers in context of this. But what this also assumes is that the moment information is made available to a salesperson, they would be able to process it, crunch it, and come up with insights and talk to the customer using those insights. And that is too many steps where things fall through the crack. So AI definitely is going to come to a place where companies are going to use the proprietary data that they have, and the propensity models are going to get much better in terms of this. But this is still, we are still working here in a reasonably closed universe, and this is an easier problem to solve with AI. But the more interesting problem for us is in terms of the information that you don't have, because most of the time you're talking with people about whom you have little to no information about. So in this case, how are you going to use AI to help this seller? Because if I know 20 things about you, I can suggest, I can suggest how to pitch to you and what you might buy. But if we are meeting for the first time, I have no idea except that, I'll probably know your name. I'll probably know where you live because we're meeting at your home, or I'll know what car you drive. So beyond that, I might not know too much information, and I can't ask you questions. For example, the question that everybody wants answer to is, let's say as an individual buyer, was how much are you earning and how much is your dispensable income, and nobody is ever going to answer that question. How much is your saving? Nobody's going to answer that question. So the key questions that you need to understand whether somebody will buy or what they'll buy, what their preferences are things that you have to discover as a seller. And you can't really ask those questions to the customer all the time. So what we've realized is that the discovery is a slow process, and you always start with very limited data points. So where we see AI coming in is to create these hyper-personalized sales pitches based on limited information you have about the client or the customer you're talking with, and keep adding it so that you can relate to the customer and you can relate to what they would appreciate, because the product that you're selling remains the same. Whether you buy it, I buy it, a certain product remains the same, but what it means to you is different than what it means to me. So is a salesperson able to differentiate that, say different things to you and me, so that we both of us look at it and say, boss, this is what I want. So I think that's where I think AI is going to make a lot of change in the lives of salespeople.
So in an era of ChatGPT and generative AI flooding the market, what exactly differentiates Sharpsell services from others, or you can say you are doing differently?
No, I think that's a good question, because and this is something a lot of clients ask us, saying, was if ChatGPT is there, why can't my guys just go use ChatGPT and ask this question? So we look at it in two ways. So one is ChatGPT may give you information, but you don't know if it's giving you the right information because you have no control. So are you going to trust somebody else's model, to inform your seller, which means the same information is going to go to the buyer. Sorry. So are you going to trust information that you're getting from some open source model to kind of reach your seller and then to the buyer? That's a question. So, and what ChatGPT assumes is that you ask a question, it will give you an answer. But one of the things we've realized in sales is between search and discovery, people on the field prefer discovery, because the moment you say ask ChatGPT anything, asking question in itself is a skill, and you'll have to articulate the right question to get the right answer. And if you don't articulate the question right, you'll anyway get an answer, because ChatGPT or any of these other tools are going to make assumptions on what you're asking. And let's say 2 times, 3 times you do it and you don't get the answer that is working for you, or you don't get the answer that you're looking for, then you're going to move on from the tool, or you're going to keep adding buffers saying, yeah, this is not what I was looking at, etc. So that's one part. And more often than not, and this is an experiment that we keep running, while a chat-based interface, it can be typing, voice has its place, and a lot of times people prefer to have 2-3 clicks, go to the right information where they predictably know they're going to find this answer. So that's like part one. Part two is ChatGPT will give you answers, but is it giving you answers in line with how you want to position your company? Is it in line with what you want your sellers to say? And more importantly, is it in line with what you want your customers to hear on how the company is represented? Because every company has its own way of selling. Every company has its own way of positioning itself in the market against competitors with specific customer segments. And while ChatGPT may give you the right information, are you aligning yourself to your way of selling? And are you helping your sellers represent you best in the market in a consistent way? That's always going to be question mark, because you have no control on what somebody is asking. So that's where Sharpsell comes in, where we look at available information, where we look at your existing playbooks, your way of selling, and put them together. So for us, AI is not really the end game. The question is, how are you powering hyper-personalized sales pitches and closing the loop with customers and making sense to customers in a way that you want you to be represented in the market. And that to us is the most important part.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your insights on this.
Thank you.